lost mine in the sand. Where will you stand?
In the midst of internet issues and all kinds of other things, Hanok, how are you this morning?
You know, I've reached a certain stage in the last 11 months where, I kind of like do an assessment, like all body parts here.
Yeah,
Okay, check. So, you think you're ahead of the game.
yeah,
Uh,
there you go.
you know, it's the people said is it like the agony to the ecstasy? I said occasionally, but it's like from the agony to worse agony. Now last week when we recorded, within a day or so before, we had the miraculous recovery of one of our hostages,
Yeah,
um, a Bedouin, which means he's Israeli Muslim.
yeah,
Um, and we were all like fabulous. It was such a wonderful feeling. And in less than a week, it all came crashing down with the murder of 6 of our hostages,
yeah,
who literally within just days before had still been with us. That leads us to a conversation that I haven't been avoiding, but I haven't brought it back up because it rehashes the same material. What does Israel do about the hostages? Now,
mhm,
anyone who's known me for more than 5 minutes knows how critical I've been of Benjamin Netanyahu.
true.
And particularly from the start of the war to now, the only thing that I think he's done right is the issue with the hostages.
Okay.
So the fact that there are Israelis out in the street demanding a deal at any cost,
Hmm.
although I'm sympathetic because I cannot imagine what it would be like
Yeah,
if it was someone from my family. However, Hamas is the only thing that stands in the way of a deal. They will not give up killing us. The issue with the Philadelphia corridor, you got to ask yourselves, that's the border with Egypt.
yeah,
If Hamas demands that they still have that, it's because that's their oxygen pipeline. That's
hmm,
where they get the weapons from. Come
hmm,
on, we know that now. The Israeli Bedouin who we released was in Rafah. The 6 hostages that were just murdered this past week were in Rafah. And remember all those times the American government said, don't go into Rafah.
yeah,
Or I showed a slide in my
hmm,
presentation, said all eyes on Rafah, and it showed, the tents, the supposed refugees, and below it, it showed our hostages.
yeah,
We knew that. Anyway, so of all the things to criticize Netanyahu for, I think he's right in holding firm. I think our Minister of Defense, who says, "Hey, give him Philadelphia. Hey, we can pause this deal for 45 days and then go back to it." I got to tell you something, particularly with the American elections coming up.
yeah,
Ain't no going back.
no,
Whatever we get done is going to be done. And that's whoever wins, whether it's Harris, whether it's Trump. They both said they want this thing to be over. Meanwhile, of course, you've got a million other things swirling around. England announces they're officially now embargoing weapon sales to Israel. Now, we only get 1% of our defense material from the UK, but it's symbolic of what the world thinks that they can do to us.
yeah,
And that's a really, really bad. Now, there's a lot of things going on in Israel where we're working at becoming independent of the US and their dictates.
but that takes
So,
time.
pardon me?
That takes time.
Yeah. See, that's also when people say, just ignore America, have faith. No, that's not faith, guys. That's ignorance and stupidity. Okay? We still don't know what's going on with Hezbollah. But meanwhile, you know what? I keep cross-referencing American news and Israeli news.
Yeah.
Today I hear Minneapolis, the city of Minneapolis, not a tiny city. I've actually been there. Now broadcasts 5 times a day the Muslim call to prayer. It's the end of the world as we know it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just unbelievable. Now, other news. Sunday, I went to the
Yeah.
Harabayit.
This is the one I'm waiting for.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Because this was like beyond a like once in a lifetime
Yeah.
opportunity. But in going up, we're waiting to go up, and a tour group is coming in from Brazil. 42 people from Brazil.
Wow.
Now, a week or so before, I ran into a group of about 30 from Mexico. They're the ones that try to smuggle in the Mexican flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right before I went to America, I ran into 2 groups on the Temple Mount, one from Indonesia and one from Burkina Faso, which I had to look up is in Africa. You're gonna have to
Okay.
trust me.
Yeah.
The thing that's fascinating about all these groups is they're all Christians, because there's always at least one person in the group that I could speak to. They're all Christian. None of them come from a country that ever had direct flights with Israel. So in other words, they're, scrambling from here to there to there to there. Again, they're Christian, and they're still coming to Israel. So I'm in touch with a lot of my old tour guide buddies. Misery loves company. And I don't know anyone that's working.
Wow.
And that's and I'm not saying out of my friends, out of all the guides that I know, I don't know
Yeah.
anyone that's, but here are tour groups. So what hit me? None of them are Americans.
Yeah.
So I looked into it further. American Jews are volunteering at a staggeringly high rate.
That's amazing.
I'm on Facebook groups that have to do with volunteer opportunities in Israel, and they're always popping up. There are Christian Americans that are coming and volunteering too, which is amazing. But I know only one out of all the congregations that I'm connected with, I only know one that has actually tried to recruit volunteers and are bringing a few people next month. Among the people that I know, very, very few are coming to Israel.
Mhm.
But we're going to leave that kind of hanging in the air for now, because you've encouraged me many times, Hanoch, don't be negative, don't be a bad boy. So sometimes you don't have to highlight everything in yellow and underline it 6 times. Just leave it out there and let people think what they want to think. Let's talk about some good news, and then we'll get to really good news.
Yeah.
Good news, Aliyah. Statistics aren't final yet, but it appears that close to 30,000 Jews from around the world have made Aliyah in the first 8 months of 2024.
Well, I think that sounds good. I mean, I don't keep up with the numbers, but
Yeah. No. It sounds good. Now, how many of those are Americans hasn't been released yet. But I can give you some anecdotal evidence that's very, very encouraging. A buddy of mine here in Modi'in lives in a neighborhood. How long did it take me to walk there? About 40 minutes, 40-minute walk from here. It's the other side of Modi'in. That's the Anglo neighborhood. Okay. His Beit Knesset, his synagogue, this Shabbat, welcomed 17 new families that just made Aliyah from America, from the New York area.
Wow.
These are modern Orthodox families. I don't know if the average has 3, 4, 5, however many kids. This is really pretty startling.
Oh, yeah.
Just yesterday, I met a guy who is affiliated with, as he put it, the Ephraimite community in South Africa,
Hmm.
in the like farmlands, even like much further away than Cape Town.
Wow.
They're coming, they're going to be here, they're going to be, first of all, he tries explaining the two-house theory to me. So
Okay.
I kind of stopped him in the middle. I said, let me tell you a little bit about my background. So that was very interesting.
Good.
Okay. The pièce de résistance. So I went up to the Temple Mount on Sunday. And my buddy and I had already decided that we were going to do the full, in Hebrew, hishtachaveh, the full prostration on the ground, which has been until the 9th of Av strictly forbidden.
Yeah.
You do that, the police take you away, they ban you for several months. It can get pretty ugly. But since the 9th of Av, it's been happening. So he gives me his phone. First, I'll tell you the how it actually happened, and then I'll tell you what it felt like.
Good.
Because that's where I really am lost.
Yeah.
To describe it. So first he gets down on his knees, fully prostrates, and then maybe like 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, he's up, and I've got it all. So I go. Now, I admire the young guys who can literally drop to their knees on the concrete and then spread out. So the video of me is kind of like, do you remember that TV commercial years ago, Mike? It's for an emergency medical alert system. It was like, I've fallen and I can't get up. This is what I was afraid of. I would be like a turtle on his back, kind of like, I can't. Anyway, so I go down. Now I've seen the video. I was down for at least 15 seconds. Where the police off on the side said, you need to get up. So I did. But here's the hardest thing. I'm not a hyper spiritual kind of guy. I don't go into a trance when I hear certain music, unless it's Black Sabbath Paranoid or something, or Simple Man by Skinner. I didn't feel the stones. I'm fully prostrated. I'm fully spread out on the stones. I do not feel them. They're not hot. They're not cold. They're not hard. Now, I've got more orthopedic problem. I can't, I sleep in a Tempur-Pedic bed and I wake up, out of joint and in spasm. There was no wind. There was no heat. And now I didn't hear this, but I sensed a message of welcome home. Now, in my family line, I can only go back 6 generations on one side of my family and 7 on another, which for most people, having grown up in America, seems to be a lot, But anyway, so to the best of my knowledge, This is the first time anyone genetically related to me in 1,890 years
Yeah.
was able, however briefly, to pray to Hashem in the spot he commanded us to, in the manner that he commanded us to. We are repeatedly commanded to prostrate ourselves on his holy mountain. Now, later in the day, I'm totally freaking out because I'm thinking, I'm just a Jewish kid from the Bronx. We were poor people. Who am I? And then, of course, you remember things that, Hashem can use a talking donkey. Notice I use the word donkey. I don't want anyone, thinking, I'm talking bad stuff here. I don't know why I was privileged to be able to do that. I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing that's so, so I put up the picture as my cover pic on Facebook, and a number of people acknowledged how incredible it was that I was able to do that and not get arrested or shot, at least not yet. But I don't know how many people really grasp. Until about a year ago, an identifiable Jew standing there muttering, rocking back and forth, would have been stopped by the police.
Yes.
Now we're praying and we're singing. We're singing as we're walking. And of course, the guys from the Waqf, are filming us. So my buddy put up footage of him filming the guy filming us with that old song, who's watching me, who's watching you. I mean, it's really, it was, I'm not the only one in Modi'in with a sense of humor.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
it's remarkable. We're waiting to see what happens next on the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount is the key, is the center of the universe.
Yes.
So I keep looking in the mirror and saying, why me?
Yeah.
I'm not the only one. Again, I'm not the only one. But my friend did point out that this began happening within 24 hours of my return to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, that's like statistics. When you can quote a statistic, it could be true, but it has nothing to do with reality.
Well, the why me, Hanok, I've asked that question for over 30 years now and have never come up with an answer that makes any sense. So that's one you just can't come up with.
Let me share my theory on that. And I'll personalize it. I don't want to insult you or anyone else. It all has to do with Dudley Do-Right and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Yeah.
One of the cartoons that I used to watch as a kid. And just so everyone knows, that was Saturday morning. We weren't religious at all. I didn't know Shabbat from a toothpick. Anyway, so all the Royal Canadian Mounted Police are lined up. And the commandant calls for a volunteer for a very dangerous mission. If the volunteer would step forward, take 2 steps forward. Do-Right is a dreamer. As I like to say, he's dreaming of the restoration. He's dreaming about the fulfillment of biblical prophecies. He's busy dreaming. He's a dreamer. Everyone else has the presence of mind to take 2 steps backward.
Yeah.
De facto leaving Do-Right forward. That's how I got involved in all this. Hashem went and asked a gazillion other Jews. Everyone else said, sorry. It's like, on the, remember the old phones, like, you're breaking up, Mike.
Yeah.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
That kind of thing. Or I never got the email. Maybe it went to my spam folder, the divine invitation. I don't know. So it's astounding. But in the same way that I see, and it's interesting because some of my Facebook friends are coming to Israel. However, here's the thing that's interesting. They're all Europeans.
Hmm.
Now, admittedly, Europe's a lot closer and the airfare is a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah,
are coming, which is exciting.
I heard last week that El Al is definitely taking advantage of the fact that there's not a lot of air travel from America right now.
Well, I got to tell you, when I confirmed with the travel agent the dates that I wanted to fly, and she sent me back the price quote, I wrote back, stupid is as stupid does. I wrote back saying, I'm sorry, I thought you were quoting me in dollars. This is in shekels, right? So the number was,
Yeah. No.
no,
Yeah.
this is dollars.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then you remember how to do CPR on yourself. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Anyway,
Well, I
now,
haven't quite, I haven't started looking at the flights yet, but I can tell you there is one American that's planning on being there in November. So we'll see.
Listen, needless to say, you knew I was not talking about you.
Yeah. Well,
I
so
just,
yeah,
at a time when people need to rise up. People need, the bar has been raised. We all are being called upon to do more.
yeah.
That's the thing that's fascinating.
I want to go back to your the episode, the event experience on the Har HaBayit, the Temple Mount.
Yeah.
I saw that, and we traveled together a little bit while I was here. I talked to one of the individuals that we were at their congregation that Shabbat, and was very, very deeply moved by that picture that you posted. Also, I'll be
Oh,
seeing
really?
him in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Interesting.
But you know that as we were traveling, I said, and I said in an audio we did together, that the single most incredible prophetic event, probably of the last 1900 years, has been those of high on the Har that are going to the Temple Mount and praying. Just
Yeah,
their presence there.
I've said before, when I'm on the bus, and I do prefer the train, it's a lot better ride. When I'm on the bus and we're driving through Shomron, Samaria to get to Jerusalem, I'm looking at like, what did I, because understand something, this coming Sunday, the 8th of September, will be exactly 15 years since I was given the bracha of becoming an Israeli.
Yeah.
I would love to tell you, I earned it, Mike. I sweated. I paid my dues. I.
Yeah.
No,
I know the story.
no. So here it is, to be involved with something that is literally changing the history of the world.
Yes.
We're going to look back on this and we're going to say, wait a minute, because, little by little, like just last night, I got a note from someone saying, hey, I saw the picture of you on the Temple Mount. Did I misunderstand you when you were here at our congregation and you said that Jews were not allowed to pray openly? Did I?
No.
This is all less than a year.
But see, the door has been opened. This door, and I know the political things are behind this right now, but this cannot be shut. Yeah, this door that has been opened by you, many of your friends that have been up there, this door will not shut. It will continue to, this is going to be looked at by those that actually understand something outside of politics as the single most prophetic event in over 1900 years. I
This
got that.
this is remarkable. Now,
It is.
future episodes of the Israel Update, especially one months down the road, I'm going to begin introducing elements to show the tremendous spiritual awakening that's been going on in Israel.
Yeah. That'd be great. I'd look
You know,
forward to
and it's not as simple as people going to the Beit Knesset, the synagogue, people praying more, people eating kosher food.
Oh, no.
I'll give you an instance. God, one of our officers was killed in action recently in Gaza. His wife is pregnant,
Mm.
and they have two twin girls. This week, the girls started kindergarten. Some men from his unit came to take the girls to school. This kind of stuff happens
Yeah.
every single day. People coming from all over the world to pick vegetables and to make a barbecue to give our soldiers.
Yeah.
It's costing them money. They're not getting credits. Actually, that's not true. They're getting credits in Shamayim,
Yeah.
in the heavens. They're getting credits.
Oh, yeah. Major credits.
And you know, I look at you, Mike, and I see what you do day in and day out. Very little thanks that come your way. But it's people like you who are fighting the good fight, who have the heart of gold, who have the focus, who are pushing that boulder uphill. You're living Sisyphus. Every day when you go to bed at night, that boulder rolls down. And you got to get up the next morning and push it back up. And it's to the credit of you and the people that we have in common as friends.
Yeah.
Who stand with you like a solid line, like a shield wall, that when I'm able to go down and prostrate myself in front of Hashem's house, where the house was and will be, it's on your backs. It's on your merit that I'm able to do that. And I don't do it for me, because in the consequence of life, I'm totally insignificant. But it's for what we collectively represent.
That's the key. Thank you for your kind words there, Hanok. But it is, the key is those that work together. You know, I can't push that boulder. I looked at Kathy this morning, and you know, we just sent donations to Israel today, yesterday, today, and it's like I can't believe. It's hard for me to understand the number of people that give, the amounts that they give, what they do, and you know, they don't really have a clue of what is being done in Israel right now because of their giving. They're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. And one day those books in the Shemaim, in the heavens, will be opened. And I just all I could do is, you got me going. All I can pray for is that when those books are opened, Hanok, that I would be able to watch the little boy that gave $5 last week. The family that's families have been so generous over these last months. I just would like to be there and watch as
This
those
is,
as the revelation of what they've done has happened.
we're coming to the epicenter of history. By the way, Chodesh Tov,
Yes.
we're in Elul.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Elul is known, there's the expression popular in the Orthodox Jewish community, the king is in the field.
Yeah.
Meaning Hashem is more accessible. I used to like that expression, but now the more I think about it, I think it's incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
What do you mean he's more
I-
accessible than he was last week?
I've really
No.
gotten away from that totally.
And particularly when I'm up on the Har HaBayit, when I'm up on the Temple Mount, and it's not always, it's interesting. Someone said to me the other day, said, you never spoke about going to Kever Yosef, Joseph's tomb in Shem. You never spoke about it. You said you were going. On a spiritual level, that was a 0 for me.
Yeah.
I was pushed and shoved. And again, growing up in New York City, I never went to Times Square, for Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve. I
Yeah.
never, I don't like crowds.
Yeah, I know.
In the heavens, one
There
or
you
both
go.
of us just got a thumbs up. So here's the thing. I mean, what I loved is spitting in the eye of the so-called Palestinian Authority.
Yeah.
But I did feel bad that we had to go like thieves in the night at 1 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, but the Har HaBayit, the Temple Mount for me, that's where I tingle. Now I love wearing the shirts with the big version of this logo. Because when I walk up on the Temple Mount and the Waqf, the Islamic Council, when the guys look at, they know they read it, they know what it is.
Oh yeah.
They can Hebrew. And it says, boy, Hanoch, you really like being in people's faces. And I'm like, me?
I'm just
No.
wearing a shirt.
I'm
Yeah. Okay.
I'm fairly subtle. It's
Hey,
like, people, like, could you have a map of Israel any bigger than the
Yeah.
one yeah, but it would be a license plate. You can't do that.
There you go. I had a lot of questions for you today, but we're out of time. And,
Oh, we can take an extra 2 minutes and take it off next week if you wanted.
we'll just do it next week. There'll be more
Okay.
that happens. Right now we're watching rockets coming into
Oh.
the north with Kiryat Shimona.
Right.
I mean, they're just getting hammered up there.
Okay. Okay. Not to minimize that, because that's a daily ongoing. And again, I'm wondering, and without a doubt, and I had to travel to Tel Aviv this week, so you get to talk to taxi drivers. Without a doubt, we're prepared for war. The Americans will not allow us to go. And again,
Yeah.
remember, October 7th happened, and it was 20 days later before we pushed America's pressure out of the way and actually went in and sent troops into Gaza. And America held us back from going into Rafah, Rafiah. But here's a quick thing. British Airways, Swiss Air, Lufthansa, Austria, Etihad, which is United Arab Emirates, they're all back flying to Israel. And most of our listeners are Americans. So I want you to listen very carefully how I'm going to phrase this, guys. The US-based carriers, Delta, United, and American, continue to boycott Israel. That's what it is. It is a boycott.
Yeah.
Maybe y'all should do like I do in America and fly Southwest, but that's another conversation.
Yeah, there you go. And the more America turns in even subtle ways like this, I don't speak prophetically, but I can tell you judgment's coming. In fact, it may already be a lot farther down than most people want to realize.
Yeah.
So, hello, take care. We'll look for another report
Hopefully-
this
hopefully good
Shabbat
news next
or this
week.
Sunday, and
Yeah.
keep
Thank
doing
you.
the work, man.
Trying. See ya.